Hello viewers, this is Mithul here. In this module, I'm going to cover the SQL data types, the type 3.1 exact numerics and approximate numerics that we have covered 3.2. So we'll be moving on with the date and time, the 3.3. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, we would like to open up the SQL server. Okay, and we will try to resolve the issue that we were finding last time with SQL server name. Basically, we were trying with couple of the type of IP address and then different localhost and all other types of server names that we were trying, and it did not work out somehow. So the thing was basically like we were not typing in the password first thing. So if we type the password here first and then say like the login, type in like a dot here, so that is as equivalent to writing you are writing as like a localhost. Okay, it's one and same. So just type in as like connect, which will connect you to the SQL server. The same server instance connects locally, like if you have the setup locally done for the SQL server, then only you can use this option. Okay, the second way of connecting to the local host or to the local SQL server setup is like in the parenthesis type in like a local keyword and then type in your user ID or SQL login and the password. That will also log you in. Other than that, third way of writing that is localhost. The full name as localhost, the same SQL login, password, and then say connect. So it will be connected. Now the fourth way of connecting to it is either it could be the SQL server, the instance name along with the server name, or else it could be the IP address. If it is like a dedicated IP address, if you've been given to connect to the server, then you can use that. Now we will type in the password again the same way, and it should take us in. This much time if it is going to take, then definitely there must be some issue. It will bring up with some dialog box or some error. So we'll see to it and resolve it. Yeah, so as expected, like it has come up with an error saying like it could not open the connection to the SQL server because of provider named pipes provider is not, the system path cannot find the path specified, and possibility is could be the name pipes provider, that setting in the configuration is not enabled, or the IP address is not enabled. Okay, any one of them could be the possibility. So let's just start the configuration manager. So go to your local system and go to the folder where you have installed the SQL server setup. So go to that folder and then find for the SQL server particular version configuration manager tool. Okay, so once that you click on it, it will open up the MMC Microsoft Management Console window, and then you are presented with this window. Now in here there are a couple of other components or the things like which are installed. Okay, so the configurations are installed. So what we need to do is like the first one is referring to the services, the service related component. All the services are listed down here. So each of the like tabular server specific, like the tab instance that we have given, right? So all these are like tabular model related analysis service, the instance to that, like that. And SQL server, which is running currently, the database engine that we just connected to, this is like the MS SQL server instance, that is the services. All of these are in the state of running or stopped or something, running or stopped status. Then the start mode is like automatic, manual or something. Log on as the service account or the particular login name, and then the process ID or the service type. Now what we need to go is like the SQL Server network configuration, because the server, the client is like our SSMS, right? The SQL Server Management Studio is our client, which will try to connect from client to the server. Now that communication happens through the network. So now that network communication is blocking our access to the server currently, and that is why it is not letting us to connect to the server using the IP address. So now what we need to do is we need to go to the protocols for the MS SQL Server, check for the protocol name. What by default the shared memory option is the enabled one. Okay. The second option regarding which we were thinking that possibility could be the disabled just by making it enabled. So we will go with this option in the last. First we will try with the TCP IP, because this is like an IP address that we are trying. So we'll just first try with the TCP IP, making it enabled. Let's just enable. What the message says, any changes will be made, will be saved. However, they will not take effect until the service is stopped and restarted. Meaning, service meaning like which service to be stopped and restarted? The main service of the SQL Server, the database engine service. Okay. So now we should go to the SQL Server services and select the running service, the SQL Server database engine service. Right click on it, go to the go to the restart. Click on the restart option and then wait. Let that service be stopped and restarted. And for opening and using this component, most likely you would need to be the administrator, the local administrator to your system, or else if you are working for an organization and you are trying to open up, then you need to be remote, physically remote into the as an administrator. You need to remote into your server, and there you can open up this component. Locally it may not be found while in the organization, but if it is a local setup, then you have the server at the same time, local client, both are in your local system. But in the case of organization, it will be at the organization server level, right? Now it is restarted, so let us just try again logging into the, or just connecting to the, using the IP address. And now yes, yeah, so see, like the issue was that only we needed to enable that TCP IP protocol basically. So now it has taken a scene. So yeah, there is nothing as such we need to do with this object explorer to the database. So I'm just closing it and I'm just opening the one which we were continuing with the data types. So let's just open up the solution that we were working on. Last time we covered up 3.1 and 2, which is like exact numerics and the approximate numerics. So this time we'll be covering the date and time. So let's start. Okay. Now here in this date and time, the section or the category, there are six different type of data types available. Okay. So the first one is the specific date specific. It just represents the date. The second represents the time part from the entire date. Then the third one is like a small date, which has a very limited date range. Then the date time, which is like a normal or like a mid range of date, the date along with time. Then date time 2 is like little higher range to the date time, and then date time offset will give us the date time 2 kind of the date, as well as it will give you the UTC time zone or UTC hours in the output or in the variable rather. So what we can see, like each of this data type represents the byte size, how much it occupies. So you can read it out or you can see to it. The date one, the date data type occupies 3 byte size. The time occupies the 5 byte size. Small date time occupies 4 byte size. Date time will be 8 byte. Date time 2 will be because it is a little higher range, so 8 to 10 bytes now. Now datetime 2 is still less than datetime offset, which is, so it will occupy now 19 bytes. Okay, now for each of this date or the time or the particular data types, there are respective date ranges. Okay, start date range and end date range. So I have noted them down straight away from the Microsoft documentation for your ready reference to see all together, so that we don't have to go back and forth with documentation and then come back here. So let's just see to the date range, starting from the first 0101. The year is the first and the month, then day, year, month and day, and then the through 9999, that then the month part, then the day part. So this is like a very high range, which is not even going to last in a short time. So let's just see to that range. Then the second range would be this for the time part. Okay, so now in the time part, what will be the start range? Start range will be the start of the day, meaning like the early AM, which is like 12 AM with 000 seconds, like microseconds, and it lasts by the end of the day end, which is like 23:59:59.99999, and the default value for that is like just the time part, the hours, the minute, and then the seconds. This is how the default value will be given. Date will have the default value as 1900 is the year, the first month, and the first of the day, of first day of the first month. Then the small date time. The small date time also starts with the same date range, because it has the time part of it also covered. So we'll put in like the start range at the same time end range. Here the difference you may see is like it starts with the 1900 and lasts by the current you can say like 2079, meaning like the closest year that we possibly may see, or maybe you may see possibly 6 like that. And then the default value, which will be like 1900 0101, which is with the time. Now here you see the difference. The first one had only the date, the second one had only the time. Now here the small date time, even though the range is less, but still it has the date and time part combined together. So for that reason, you may see the default date as well as time. Now the fourth one is the variable date and time together. It will occupy 8 byte, starts with the range 1753 January, the 1st of the January, through 9999 12th the December, 31st December, I mean. So the default, again the default value will be same. Then the date time 2, which is again the higher range, which will be starting from the first year, then first month, and then the first day, through to the 9999 December 31st, up to that range. Okay, then the default value here you may see is the date, I mean year, month and date, and then hours, minute, seconds, and this is like a microseconds. Okay, now the last variable declaration is date time offset. Date time offset again would be starting with the same range, ending with the same range as date time 2. The difference here in the default value would be the default value will be 1900 0101, then the hours, minutes, seconds, microseconds, and then the part of the UTC, the hours and the minutes from the UTC part. Okay, now let's just assign the values to these variables. So we have assigned some of the sample values to these variables, like the date, the time, the small date time, date time 2, and then offset. Here what you see, like in this entire date range, you understand the date part of it, you understand the time part of it, right? Hours, minutes and seconds, then milliseconds or microseconds, all of these are there, and then the UTC part, which comes along with plus or minus. This is the hour and this is the minute. Okay. Like the same way we have assigned this time, various variable values we have assigned to it, and then we are in the last also we are just explaining. Now when I am saying UTC means what? UTC is like a coordinated universal time. Okay, that is the centralized time, which is considered for each of the countries in the world. Every countries are following this UTC standard. Okay, I mean like it's just like plus or minus to this UTC time zone, first thing. So let us just understand, at least say like for the India, if you want to just understand like how for the India how it is calculated, or how we can just check how it is or what it is, right? So for UTC, the value how we will calculate. So there is a built-in function in SQL Server which is like a get UTC date, which will give us the UTC date and time, the current date and the current time as per the UTC, means like the coordinated universal centralized time. Then the second one is the built-in SQL Server function again, which is like a get date. What it will give us, that is it will give us the date and time according to this format. Okay, it will give us according to the last format, sorry, not that one. According to the last format it may give us the date. It may, yeah, sorry, my bad. It will give you the date time only, sorry. Yeah, so both of these dates will give you the same date time, the format basically. And then what we will do, we will just find out the difference within them. We will just find out the difference between them, so that we can understand like how and what is the exact difference between them, right? So what we will do, we will just run this much part of the query to see like what exactly is the current UTC wise time zone. Okay, now as we see that UTC date time, what is the date time? The 2025th, the April, 25th April, the 17:25:42 7:30 is the time as per UTC. Whereas you see as per the IST, Indian Standard Time, according to that what we see is the same date will remain same, only just that hours will have some plus or minus differences within them. Okay, now here how much difference is what is there between the UTC time zone to our time zone, like Indian time zone, is like 5.5. That is the difference for that. So how can we check that? We need to go to our the local system time. Okay, go to the date and time settings. Then you can check there in the time zone section, you can see like UTC is referring to plus 5:30. 5:30 means 5.5, right? So that is what Indian Standard Time Zone says, and that is what we found out here, right? 5.50, because it's just calculating in the numeric way, like it doesn't understand the way how the time is calculated. It will show us the 5.5, but actually it is 5.5 only. Okay, so like that. So we understand now. If you want to explore for furthermore like the other UTC time zones and all, then you can just click into this time zone part in your system or on your server, and just keep checking for each of these time zone. According to that you may understand like which time zones it may refer to, right? So here you may find somewhere like UTC in the center. Yeah, so like this UTC, like in center time, and then like plus or minus to that, different countries will have different time zones, right? So as we just saw, like India has the let me plug in my battery charger. Okay, so that is how you will check, right? So let's just go back to the slide, to the SQL window, and now we will just try to display all of those variables whatever we have set the values to it, right? So let's just display all of them together with the assignments. Yeah, so here you see like the date whichever is assigned to it, we have, even though we have assigned the date, time, and then microseconds, and then UTC, everything we have assigned, but still it has saved only the date part of it. Why? Because it is storing only the date from the entire part of the string. It will just fetch only the date part of it. Now in the second case you may see that here only the time is fetched and date is excluded, right? So according to that it is occupying the byte size, like the first one has occupied 3 byte and then the second one has occupied 5 byte size, like that only it happens. For the small date time again, the date and the time both we have given, so small date time has given us appropriately, it has fetched the correct. Same way the date and time, now date and time also is showing the correct value what we have set, and that is what it is showing us. Date time 2, it will show us like hours, minutes, seconds, and then milliseconds, and then that is what it is showing us. Now in the case of date time offset, it is also showing the same offset what we have set to it, the same number or the same value gets saved, and according to that the byte size will be allocated to it. Okay, so here there is a difference that I see. Here it should be 8 and here it should be 10 bytes as it is occupying this, right? So like the initial for the date it will be 3, time it will be 5, small date time will be 4, right? Small date time will be 4, then the date time will be 8, then date time 2 will be 8 again, and then ideally it should be higher than what it has, but maybe because the value which I have saved has reduced to it. Okay, so let's just not consider exactly, but whatever the value we have set into this variable, right, according to that only is it is showing us the data length, means like the byte size. But don't go by that why it is taking less than what we have defined here, because this is like a standard documentation from which I picked this up. I just got confused actually, sorry for that. Okay, so that's it for the day. Happy learning, thank you.